When marketing a small business, it can be very tempting to feel like you either can just Google the answer or read a book, or that you should be able to know what to do, or that your product should sell itself. There's just all of these really important shoulds that are happening as we, as small business owners, go to market our business. In this video, I want to communicate that there are no shoulds. But there are a few ugly truths. There are a few things that if we as small business owners really owned up to these things, it would actually make our lives just a ton easier, and it would make us faster. It would make everything go better if we just owned up to these few simple things. What are they? What are the things that I consider to be the ugly truths of marketing for a small business? The very first one is that it's harder than it looks. So as an expert in your field, as the person who does what you do for a living, as the technician, as the baker, the chief cook and bottle washer, as all of those things for your business, it can be extremely tempting to feel like, I understand making bread. How come I can't get people to buy it? I make the best bread in the marketplace. I am better bread than you will ever find at a grocery store. Why can't I get people to buy it? It should be easy. It should be easy to communicate to people that I'm using organic ingredients and that I am getting up at 2:00 in the morning every single day to make this product for everyone in the market. And it should be easy. Like, it should just sell itself. Everyone who tastes it says that it is great, and that is it, and it should sell itself. That is the number one ugly truth. It is the first one. There's a lot, but that's the first ugly truth, is that a lot of us as small business owners, when we create a thing, we feel like it should be easy to sell it. I have fallen victim to this myself. When I first started my business, I actually started this business as a text messaging marketing business for property management companies. And I very much thought that it was a no-brainer, that the second I told them what I was doing, like, your renters will be able to text in their maintenance orders and you'll never have to talk to them and it'll be great. I thought as soon as they understood that, they would want it and there'd be a question about it, because that is what people want to do. And this was over 10 years ago. The ugly truth was that it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to communicate the value of that to people. It's not that the product wasn't useful. It was that I was unable to communicate how it would be useful, how it would save money, how it would do the things that the, property management companies needed and wanted done. I was simply bad at marketing because I was married to the idea that the thing should sell itself. And that's part of the reason why I became a marketer, is my experience of just being horrible at communicating this very simple marketing thing, which is that people want to text. They don't want to talk on the phone. And if you give them a way to do that, they will help you maintain your property. And I didn't even use that language. Like, how simple is that? What I just said there. And I never managed to use that language when I was actually selling this product. And that's because it's not easy. It's not easy when you're in the middle of it. It's not easy to see what you should say and how you should say it. And when I say it's not easy, it doesn't mean that if you are watching this or if you are reading this, that you shouldn't feel like it's easy if it's easy for you. There are some of us who are really skilled and gifted at marketing, and that communication is one of our high strengths. It's something that we're really good at. Empathy. If you're really good at empathy and communications, marketing is really easy, but that doesn't mean that it isn't hard for everybody else. And for the majority of us, that's the case. For the majority of us, it is just hard. And that is an ugly truth that I want everyone to understand. If you find the entire concept of marketing your business hard, good. In a way, that's great, because that means you're not a marketer, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that you can't learn. I believe very much in being growth mindset oriented people, meaning that you can learn and grow and do anything you want to do. If you wanted to quit your job right now and become an astronaut, honey, SpaceX is hiring. There are always ways to go out there and become and do and be whatever you want. So I don't think that just because it's hard means that we can't do it. So the big myth is, or the big ugly truth is, that it is hard. And the answer to that ugly truth is simply that you need to know what it is you should be doing and not try to assume that you can do it all at once, or that you can do it all by yourself, or any of those things, but it might actually be hard, and that's okay. So ugly truth number one, It's hard. The second one, the second ugly truth is that it doesn't have to be hard. And that the reason why it's hard is because doing marketing is not something that we are naturally doing. Like I said, unless your strengths are empathy and communication, marketing is very difficult. It can be very hard, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn and grow and make it easy. So it doesn't have to be hard. Now, what I mean by that is that all of the skills required to do marketing and to be good at marketing for your own small business are things that you can acquire and test and try over time. And as a matter of fact, you don't have to do these things yourself, right? A lot of times what we require as small business owners isn't the ability to be good marketers. What we require as small business owners is the ability to communicate and to empathize with our customers. So I want us to maybe reframe the concept of being a marketer as a small business owner into the concept of being really empathetic and really good at communication. If you can harness those two skills, then you can be really good at this. So like I said, ugly myth number 2 is that, simply put, it doesn't have to be hard. It can be easy if you can develop the core skill of empathy and communication. Now, what do I mean by empathy? What I mean by empathy is the ability to put yourself in the shoes of your customer. So going back to my example as a property management, person who was working with property management companies, I actually went out and interviewed a few of them and tried to understand, why is it that I'm having such a hard time communicating, or not communicating, but selling? Like, how was I having such a hard time selling? I feel like I'm great at sales. So why was I having a hard time selling this text messaging service to property management companies? And when I spoke with them, I understood that what I really didn't understand, or what I really didn't know, was them. I did not understand their struggle. I did not understand what they were attempting to do. I did not understand how and why someone would be a property management company or own a property management company. I did not understand their motivations. I did not understand why or who were the people who were working in the office, who are the people who are handling maintenance orders. There were so many of these things that I did not understand. I had no real ability to stand in the shoes of all of the people who would be using my product. All I understood was their customer. So as a lifelong renter, I understood the renter perspective of not wanting to communicate directly with the office and have to talk to people. So I'm like, I don't want to have to talk to someone about random embarrassing things that are happening inside of my apartment that I need fixed. I would rather just be able to write a note or text someone so that I don't have to have that weird, awkward conversation and have to coordinate things. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. And so as the renter, I was coming at it from that perspective. I was not coming at it from the perspective of the company that would be buying it. I realized over time, and I very fortunately realized this quickly enough that I was able to transition, but I realized that I didn't have empathy. Not only did I not have empathy, but the more I learned about them, and this is gonna sound horrible, but the more I learned about them, the more I realized I did not want them to be my customers, because I understood that I couldn't empathize with them. I did not understand where they were coming from. I did not understand their perspective on reality. After interviewing 20 or 30 property management managers and property management companies, what I realized is how they saw their renters and how I saw their renters, or saw myself as a renter, were diametrically opposed. And so there would be very little way for me to communicate the value of something that they really saw no value in it, because a lot of property management companies are not trying to build long-term relationships with their renters, because they see their renters as transient. Now, 10 years later, we all understand that is not exactly true, but that is beside the point, right? So they saw their renters as transient. They see renters as pre-life, meaning that people who rent are people who haven't developed life yet. As someone who still rents and is in the middle of a very good life, I don't understand that mindset, but I understand, that's the reason why I couldn't keep them as customers, because I could not empathize with them. And then on top of that, because I could not empathize with them, I could not communicate the value of what I was doing. That is really important. So again, it doesn't have to be hard, but you need to be able to have empathy with your customer and communicate value. If you can't, then there's an entire discussion about how to transition away from a certain customer market or all those things. But if you're going to try to do marketing for yourself or engage in marketing with your business, you really do have to develop the skill of empathy with your customer. You need to understand who they are and where they're coming from and what their experiences are and how you can then work within their experiences. And then also then how you can communicate what you do and the value that you're offering based on those experiences. Instead of trying to make them see your perspective, it's way more important for you to see their perspective and for you to communicate your value within their scope of reality. And if we can do, that's the core of marketing. And as soon as we can do that, yay. So we win when we can empathize and communicate. And that part does not have to be hard. So I really want you to understand and acknowledge that second ugly truth is that it's hard, but it doesn't have to be. It just requires that we learn two very specific things, empathy and communication. And if we can do those two things, we will succeed. Now, what is the absolute third ugly truth? The third ugly truth is that for you as a small business owner, geez, I'm nervous even saying this, but you should do this yourself, right? You can absolutely do it. Like, you can learn empathy, you can learn communication. And if you were going to effectively market your own business, you really should do it yourself. Like, it is something that you should be doing yourself. I don't believe when I say that you should do it yourself, do not get me wrong. As a person who does digital marketing for other companies, I have clients, I have people who I'm teaching to be digital marketers. That's part of the reason why I switched to education, was so that I could help the entire field of marketing get better, because I love marketing and I love what we do. And I think we can have so much impact for small business owners. So don't get me wrong. I don't think that all marketers who do marketing for a living need to go out of business and all that. I'm not saying that. Freelancers are awesome. Digital marketing agencies can save your life. Absolutely 100%. What I'm saying, though, is that as a small business owner, you cannot abdicate your marketing to an agency or a freelancer or an intern or anyone else. Essentially, as a small business owner, you have to do some part of your marketing. Every single one of us has to do some portion of our marketing. Why? Because in able to communicate very specifically what it is that your business is going to do and how you're going to do it, you, the person who invented it, the person who created it, needs to direct the conversation. And the only way for you to direct the conversation is for you to get in there and actually do it, right? Once you get your hands in it and you get immersed in doing marketing for yourself, you will have so much more information to be able to communicate to someone who you can pass it off to later. But it is so much better for us as small business owners, very specifically as small business owners, to start whenever we're going to do something new in our small business, whenever we're going to do something new with our marketing, to actually start doing it ourselves, do it in-house, do it internally, do it so that you can know what it is you're outsourcing. We need to be the director of our marketing. We don't need to be the executor of the marketing. We don't need to be the person who does all the things and executes everything and posts every single day live to social media. I am not saying that, but I am saying that you need to know what you should be posting on social media. What is happening? Okay. You need to know what you should be posting on social media. You need to know what you should be writing as a blog. You need to know how to communicate what the message is, where your customer is. You need to know those things. And if you are the person who initiates it, you are doing some portion of the market research, or you're engaging with the market researcher to understand what your market is doing. Even if, again, you're not the one doing the market research, or you're not the one writing the blog post, or you're not the one writing the social media messages, I don't think you have to do all of that, but you should be the person who's directing the path of the people who are writing the social media messages and writing the blogs. You should be the person at the very least in the beginning who is basically the voice of the business, because it's your business and you started it. And in order for it to continue to have an awesome brand message, you need to be the person directing that path. Now, again, like I said, don't get me wrong. You don't have to continue doing this forever. You don't have to do any of it forever. But at some point, when you're getting yourself started and you are trying to get your business really launched in the right direction with your marketing, the ugly truth is that you should absolutely be doing some portion of this marketing yourself. It should be in-house. It's not something that I would encourage any small business owner to immediately outsource to other people. I do not think you should take your social media and say, I've never done social media in my life for my business, and I want to hire you to do it. Whenever people come to me and say stuff like that, I'm like, no, ma'am. I need you to have some experience and some expectations, something that you've done for yourself, some idea of how your Facebook community works, some idea of what it is that you want to happen. You need to have that, because if you don't have it and I give it to you as the marketer, then you will only have my version of reality to play with. And I'm honest and everything, like me, like at Predictable Results Marketing, that's what we're known for, but not everybody else is. And not everybody else is going to have your best interest and your best budget in mind. And so you definitely want to put yourself in a position where you have some idea of what it is you're doing and what it is you want and all of those things before you pass it off to someone else. So again, it's not that you shouldn't ever hire it out. It's not that at all. It is simply that in order for you to get the best results, the ugly truth is that you should do it yourself, at least for a short period of time, so that you can get your hands dirty, know what's happening in your business, and know what it is you're passing out for someone else to do. Now, I'm going to give you one massive bonus ugly truth. And that is that your brand, the thing that you're building with your small business, the brand that you want to be, is 100% to some degree dependent on your knowledge of your customer. Now, I have alluded to this when I talked about how hard it is or how easy it can be, or the fact that you're the one who needs to be doing it. And the reason for that is because in order for us to have really impactful and effective marketing, in order for us to be the brands that we are trying to be, we need to be aligned with our customers. And you should be the person who knows your customer best. Now, the ugly truth there is a lot of us as small business owners don't know our customers very well. Example being the property management companies. So a lot of property management companies back in the day when I was starting my business were in the unfortunate position where they thought very negatively. That's a good way to put it. I'm like, how do I say they didn't think highly of their renters? And a lot of them still don't, but they didn't think that renters had long-term value. A lot of people had the idea that renters were like people who rent are people who are transient renters. I spoke with a property management company once that the owner told me that everyone, he owned an entire apartment complex, and he told me everyone who was renting from him was on some sort of marriage path. And as soon as they got married, they would go buy a house and move out. Literally said that to me. And I was like, what decade does he think this is? And who is he talking about? I'm like, I can almost guarantee that there were already married people living there. There were people who were beyond marrying age, meaning that they were not the people he was talking about, 20-year-olds who were going to get married tomorrow. And I'm like, on top of that, he was talking to me. And at the time I was a just turned 30-year-old, completely unattached single person who was not on anybody's marriage path. And I've been renting my entire life. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Like, me, myself personally, I was like, the second I had that conversation, I thought, oh, he has no idea who his customer is. He just has a product that people need. And he's taking for granted customer knowledge because customers like his product and they buy it. And I always, like, when I think about him in that specific interview, he was not the only person who said things like that to me, but that specific interview was so illuminating because I think it tells a lot about the disconnect between your customer and yourself as a business owner. If you have that disconnect, a lot of times you will be creating the experience for yourself that you don't want. And so I would bet that person didn't want his turnover to be as high as it was, but in a way, by treating his renters like they were transient, he was creating the experience. Because as someone who rents lifelong, I don't want to live somewhere where people are not treating my concerns seriously. And if you don't take me seriously, I will move in a heartbeat. And I will go live somewhere else because not because I'm transient, but because as someone who rents, I'm like, I just want to make sure that wherever I'm renting from actually cares about me and cares about my living experience, because I would care if I owned the place, I would care. And so I want to make sure that people care about me, the people who own the place. And I know I'm not alone as a renter who has had that experience. And I really just want to use that story to illuminate that if you in your business, if you own a hardware store or a bakery, as I was speaking of at the beginning, and you just think your product is so good that people should buy it, there's a disconnect. Not everybody eats bread. Just saying, like, not everybody eats bread. Not everybody cares about the fact that you got up at 2:00 in the morning. There are some people who do. We need to find the people who fit with the narrative that you're trying to tell and market to them, or you need to turn your narrative around and adjust to the people you are actually marketing to. Because if we can't do those things, if we can't find our customer, empathize with them, create a way to communicate value with them, if we can't do that, then we are completely at a loss. All of it, none of it makes any sense. If we can't acknowledge that fourth ugly truth, the bonus ugly truth, which is that a lot of us as small business owners are just simply disconnected from our customer. And if we want to build the brands and build a small business brand that we want, then we definitely need to get connected. We need to get information, as Miss Beyonce would say. We need to get information with our customer. Because if we cannot get in line with them, they should not be getting in line with us. We should be getting in line with them. Okay. This is not about leadership in the marketplace. This is about followership. You should be following them. You should be going after them, not chasing, but listening, watching, learning from your customer. Because if you can do that, then you will have empathy. That's part of the learning lesson of empathy, is actually being immersed in the people that you're actually trying to serve and solve problems for. And if we can do that, we win. Right? Long lesson, but the whole point of the lesson is to explain this. There are more than 4 ugly truths about marketing for a small business. The most important thing is that all of them are obstacles that are overcomable. It's just that so much of them are in our heads, and we have to get our heads right if we're going to aim at actually solving our problems as small business owners and selling things in a marketplace in a way that is going to be impactful for our customers. And I truly believe that we can actually do it. Now that you have thought through these core concepts, I am going to challenge you to take this one step further. We have a small business brand audit that really helps you to walk through your small business and determine where you are right now. It helps you identify your customer's perspective and help you position your brand based on your competitive evaluations. It also helps you to align yourself through mapping your customer's motivations. And all of these things can actually help you to determine, again, where your small business fits on the path to actually being a brand. This self-guided brand audit is completely free and available to you at the link that is going to be somewhere. How links are, they move. I don't know where it's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere very near. And you will have the opportunity to download this audit and take it yourself. It is in the format of a PDF download. So once you actually download it, it is available to you to use whenever you see fit. It consists of 8 videos as well as 14 pages of workbook that allow you to work through some instructional activities to actually help you to move yourself more in alignment with your brand, move your small business into alignment with your brand, and actually help you make that transition from kind of small business owner into a brand, which is, of course, what we are all aiming to do. When you're trying to learn and grow, that is always the aim, is to get ourselves to the point where we are not just a small business owner, but we are the owners of a brand. I encourage you to go ahead and download that small business brand audit. It is completely free. Click the link to get yourself started, and I will see you on the inside of the brand audit.